My name is Mr. Havey. Mr. Rebecca is also here today. We're going to run a numeracy workshop for you today, inshallah. I'm assuming you're all in tables of year levels, yes? That's all, yep. So what grade is this? Preps, Prep 1, 2 3s, 4 5s. So we've done that deliberately to help you help your child, inshallah. So once again, thank you for coming. I thought we'd probably get a better turnout. We did get a big turnout for our language. Anybody here attend the language one? We've got a bigger turnout, didn't we?
But they came later.
Came later, so we're expecting...
They left about 2:30 because
very cultural-like. We don't expect them to come in like a wedding. You just come in when you say, "Hi, come in, come through." All right. So what we'll do is we'll start because we can't stop and start. I know we have 3:30 is obviously our finish. We try and hope to get everything done before 3:30. So the way it will run, we are going to run this workshop as if it was a typical classroom day. So the way we would run it is if you guys were the students and we were the facilitators, the teachers. So this is what we would normally do. So you get a first-hand snapshot of what the classroom teacher would do in a typical classroom situation. But bearing in mind, the work that is differentiated wouldn't be to this scale. In a typical classroom, you'll have, say for example, and today we've picked fractions. It's probably not everyone's favourite, and that was done deliberately because everyone has a phobia of fractions and maths. And I can tell you, I didn't enjoy maths growing up as a kid. It wasn't my favourite subject. And that was due to a number of many things. I think it is because the teachers that I had weren't the best teachers. And so, because it wasn't explained to me properly, I was very confused about it and I feared it for some reason. I didn't enjoy it. So here I am, 20 years later teaching maths and doing workshops for parents. So, in a typical classroom, you'd have varied abilities, understandably. If we were doing fractions in a classroom, and we were looking at, say, for example, halves, or let's say halves, we'd look at halves and we'd see what children can do with halves on that continuum, on that scale. We'd have kids at the very top end that could do halves no problem, and I'll probably introduce quarters and thirds, and we have kids down the lower end of the spectrum that don't have any knowledge about fractions, cannot conceptually work out what a whole, what a half is. In this situation, very unlike the classroom, you wouldn't have preps all the way to a year 5 in the classroom. Very unlike. So we're doing it this way deliberately, so it also benefits you and your child. So when you go home, you help your child as well. I'll start with the Australian curriculum. Is this loaded? Yes, please. So, at our there. Okay. Is that all? Is that all? No. What? Can you want to? So, you can access your child's curriculum. You can access what your child will be learning about. Your teacher, it depends on the order. So your classroom teacher might say to you, next week we're looking at fractions. You can go on the online curriculum, the Australian curriculum, and you can look at what is expected for your child's grade just by clicking on the tab. So you go online, the Australian curriculum, you go to F to 10, which is Foundations to Year 10. You have some PDF files just here, the scope and sequence PDF files. You go on, but explore this. Even in our information nights, we ask parents to explore this. As I said to parents at information night, this is no secret. What we teach to your kids is not a secret. You can access this information. This is the Australian curriculum available to everybody. And have a look at, you click onto maths, English, whatever subject you like, and have a look at the expectations of what is expected in number and algebra at the foundation year level. And you can go on, you scroll down, and you have a look at everything that is expected throughout the whole scope from prep up until year 10. Okay? So you click onto the content descriptor, say for example this is a number and place value for year 1, and it will tell you. Develop confidence with number sequences, to and from 100 by 1s, from any starting point, skip down by 2s, 5s and 10s, starting from 0. That's the outcome, that's the expectation for year 1 at that level for that particular stream. We advise that you go on and explore this website as much as possible. You can give your kids a head start. You know, next term, you've spoken to your teacher at the three-way conference. Next term, they've said to you, next term, sister, we are looking at multiplication. Please give them a head start in multiplication, practice your multiplication times table. We're multiplying 2-digit by 1-digit numbers, say for example. Get on the website. Have a look what is the expectation for your child. What we do sometimes, we look at the expectation for, say I'm teaching grade 1, and if I've got a really advanced child in my class, I might even look at the content descriptor for grade 2. And if my child can do grade 2 work, then so be it. So we differentiate our work. We'll get into differentiation in a minute. But you can have a look at the year above, you can have a look at the year below, and you can gauge where your child's at. You can put on the continuum, you know what? My child's good at fractions, but not so good at multiplication. Yeah, and you can have a look at what the expectations are. So this is for you to use. It's the Australian curriculum. Go online, check it out. There is a lot of parent support stuff. There's lots of stuff here for parents as well. Scoodle is also an awesome tool to use. It has heaps of activities you can do over the holidays or in your spare time.
Just the parent section. Parent section is just...
Yes. Prep is foundations.
Foundation.
Foundations, yeah, they don't call it prep, we call it prep, but it's foundations.
So on the home page you've got the section for parents there.
They give you links, there are strategies, things that you can do at home with your child with regards to maths and any other topic. Not only maths, today's maths, but with any other, like these are all the learning areas. So it is vast.
Just with term 1 and 2, 3, 4, it doesn't say which term
No,
is which.
no. So, as I said to you earlier, the order, the way it is done, it depends on the teacher. Australian International Academy Primary School might be doing, for grade 1, addition in term 1. Coburg North Primary School might be doing, in grade 1, might be doing subtraction. There's no order. So it's up to the teacher, and we structure that order at the beginning of the year. It has to coincide with their unit of inquiry, it has to coincide with their genre, with their type of writing. So there's a lot of planning that goes in with that order. The order can't be changed.
So can we get a copy of the structure for each term so we can dive into which one?
What you can do,
There's many here.
there are. What we can do, you can speak to your teacher, you can ask your classroom teacher, what are you looking at this term? And they can jot down for you, they can mention it to you, they can have it in their diary sheet, whatever, however way you want to get it. For the term, we'd rather you not jump too far ahead because you're not doing teaching. You're not doing teaching, okay? You're helping, you're assisting, you're guiding, you're facilitating, but you're not doing teaching. Let the teachers teach and you reinforce. Because it's a hard job for you to teach, reinforce, do everything else you do at home, okay? So let the teachers do their job. Don't jump too far ahead, because if you teach the way you teach, and then the teacher comes to teach the way they teach, there's a bit of confusion, okay? And look, it's okay to share with how you look. I still learn from kids because it's a completely different generation. You know, my kids' parents come from a different generation than I did. They did things differently, but there are different ways for everything anyway. So long division, I know a really awesome way to do long division. You guys might know an even better way to do long division. So it's not a problem. The way we teach our kids, leave it to the teachers. You guys don't need to do the teaching, you do the reinforcement and help and the supporting.
Does it provide you the activities itself, or?
Look, there is a section for parents. It's called Scootle. You get in, and it has a whole heap.
So once you click on that code there, which is the content descriptor, there's the link there for the
Resources. Yeah. So it shows you activities, games, things that you can do. So again, I reiterate, don't jump too far ahead. Don't ask for the whole year plan and go, hey, you know what, I'll finish the year in 2 weeks. I think my kid's ready to move to the next year level. Leave that up to the teacher. But it's good for you to know because you can support your child.
Yeah, just that if we know that they don't subtraction this term, then you can go up to subtraction.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know
Yeah.
then
What you will know is your child, if your child gets subtraction homework this week, it means that they did it last week. Alright? That's the whole school. If I'm doing subtraction with my kids this week, I will give them revision work next week. So you know, Mohammed, you've already done this with your teacher last week. I'm only here to help you. You're not here to teach them. So if they're still not getting it, that means the child didn't get it in last week with their teacher. Yeah? And that's when you come in and give them that extra support.
If you like, for example, multiplication is the next topic. If we just start teaching like the
Curriculum is a support tool for parents to have a look at the whole scope of your child's curriculum, what they're being taught in whichever year level, in whichever subject you like. That's there for you to access and use. We said that not to teach anything new than what the children already know, but to support them with strategies and with different things that this has taught them. Alright, we'll move on. So in a typical classroom, we'll sit all our students down. This normally, if we can we blow it up? No. This normally would be up in the classroom. This is the first thing your child would see. They would probably see what it's called is a proficiency scale. And it's a scale of their or ability. It's just a scale of ability. Alright? So at the very lowest point, we'll start at the very top point, the more complex. A 4.0 would probably mean something well above what you would expect a child to complete in that class. Let's talk about, let's say, fractions. This, more complex fractions. So if your child's in grade 2, you're looking at grade 2, top end of grade 2, possibly grade 3 fraction work. Yeah? The next point, 3.0, can do it independently, no problem. Is that it's at level where we expect your child to be. Once we've finished fractions, this is where they should be, at a 3.0. Down here, as it gets lower, they still do it independently, but with some support. With some support, that's where they can do fractions. The scale, 2.0. 1.0, with help, the student can complete the score, but it's only with help. It's not a reminder, you have to sit with them and you have to help them. That's a 1.0. A 0 would mean, even with help, even with me sitting with your child and having to go through this activity, they still don't get fractions. They still don't get that concept. They still don't get the particular thing that I talked of, yeah? So this is just a scale. Oh, this is very sensitive. This is just a scale of their ability. And it's there for them. We say this to them. We're all about here. We want to hope to achieve to get to here. Some of us are already here. We want you to even to try and get further if you can. A proficiency scale is something new that we have adopted this year. For some teachers have done this in different ways, but not called it proficiency scales. But your child should be familiar with the term proficiency scale. Okay? It is a scale that measures their ability. That's all it is. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to do a little tuning in session. This is what we do in the classroom. We're introducing maths. Mind you, maths, fractions has already been introduced. We have some idea of fractions. We're going to do a tuning in activity. Lights, please, thanks. Do you want to go through this?
Sorry, thanks.
Okay, so what we would like you to do, you'll find on your table some A3 length paper. So A3 paper, I think every table has 1 or 2 pieces, that's all you will need. Okay, what we would like you to do is how can you share that whole piece of paper within your group evenly? So this is where you have to come in together as a group with the people at your table, have a discussion. How are you going to share this piece of paper evenly between everyone at your table? You can use the equipment or the resources that are there if you need it, but have a discussion before you go ahead doing that. We all work together, there were 6 of you, so how will you share that evenly between 6 people? Yeah? So remember, evenly. You do it as you can cut it, you can do whatever you like to do.
1, 2, 3, 4. Type it up.
How we will do it with
It's an art. Type it that way. They have 7. We have to cut it
Okay, so you want to be included as well, right? Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 6. Let me read that. Then we can't do this one. Yeah.
So do and
Yes.
so each person
You can cut it, but then you can use the rules. Yeah. How it comes on the website.
you need to go one piece of paper
So we're not going to use children time because you're adults. You can do this quicker.
Should I get on you for myself?
So another couple more minutes, hopefully.
Or maybe choose somebody that. Okay, and then this is last Mrs. Markel and everybody else.
So that's 6, right?
Okay, so when you're ready, you can start maybe feedbacking or sharing back to me. Now, in a normal classroom situation, the teacher would start with a provocation or a tuning in task just like this. But we wouldn't tell them at all what we're looking at. I wouldn't even mention the word fraction. They wouldn't have anything related to fraction on their table. I would just say, here's a piece of paper, share it with your friends for me. Cut it out so that it's evenly shared. And then what we'll do is we'll bring them all back together on the floor, and this is where our whole class discussion comes in. So what did you have to do to share that piece of paper? What are some things that you had to use, some knowledge maybe, background knowledge, any resources, any materials that you had to use to achieve that task? And this is where we would like you to be the students and tell us what you did.
So we'll go around the group. Oh, yeah, you can have your hand. Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. Good.
I just had to wait for the clever one to do it and I
Okay, so waiting for the clever one.
So in a classroom situation, if you don't give children the opportunity to work in a group, they'll just sit back, you do all the work, no problem, yeah? The teacher watches that, sees that, and knows that that red flag, something's going on there. Alright, so it's good. So what did you have to do to get your answer, to get your final product? What did you have to do? What discussion did you have to have? So you have to count, so you use counting. Good, you have to count the number of people to share equal parts. Good. I like the word equal. So what we're doing now is we're picking out key words that would be used in fractions. Yeah. So counting, because fractions is number, and we look for the word equal, because I'll highlight that. The teacher will go equal. That's a good word. Equal. We're going to use that word. And so share. We're going to use that word. What else did you have to do? How did you figure that out? How would you figure? So some background knowledge. You have to have some concept of sharing, some concept of maybe fractions. What if you're a prep? Where are our preps? What knowledge of sharing or fractions would a prep have? Not much. Do we? So in real life, at home, you talk about sharing, yeah? You talk about this is for you, this is for your brother, this is for you, this is for me. So share, so they have some concepts. Kind of like even in prep, they have an idea of sharing. Yeah? Good. What else?
Divide.
Doing it?
Division.
Oh, division. Sharing. Good word. Division. Nice. Yes, odd and even. What happens if they are not equal numbers? It's an odd number or yeah.
Odd number becomes a problem.
Did we have an odd number?
We have an odd number
And then you found the brother. You went, yeah. We don't have to do any hard work. What would you do in a situation where you have an odd number? How would you do that?
Use measurement.
One at a time, please. That's what we do, that's what we say. So, you were saying?
So the bit that was left over.
Okay, I have a whole sheet of paper. There are 7 of us. What do we do?
Divide into 8, and the last one split it.
It's a good idea. Divide it, so you would divide it into 8, and then the last square, you'd split that up into the other 7. That's an idea that would work. Do you think that would work?
Yes.
Does anybody have another idea?
Weigh the whole thing and divide it into 7. So 7 equal strips.
That's probably an easier idea. Everyone agree with that? That works. Does anybody have another idea? So that's what a teacher would do, tuning in. That's the discussion. Everyone's involved. People that are not, teacher chooses them anyway. What do you think? What do you think? We have a no opt-out. So children, those children that, who were they?
It just cannot be done.
So those children that go, not me, yeah? Our rule is in our class, we have a no opt-out. So you don't have your hand up, you have your hand up. The teacher has a random choice to pick anyone. If you don't know it, that's okay. I'll come back to you. What do you think is the right answer? Have a go, you have a go. Good, I'll ask you again. Did you hear that? Can you repeat that? And that's the way we teach. And then you can do that at home. Yeah? So, yes, we have ice balls. So the strategy is, so it's a pick random. We pull out an ice ball stick, has a name on them. Yes, so you're up. Mesa, you're up. Mohammed, you're up. Your turn. No opt out. So it could be you. So you're waiting. You're sitting there going, is he going to pull me out, or am I coming out or not? But it's no fear. It's no prejudice. No judgment. If you don't know it, you don't know it. We're all learning. Yes, got it. Can you repeat that? Good. Thank you. Yeah. So I would measure. So the teacher's saying now. Great idea, great, well done. I would measure and divide it by 7 equally. I might rule a line with a ruler and cut it up in strips. There's my 7 pieces, equal pieces. Yeah, good. Nice, great words. We have the words, we put the chart up. Leave it there. These are our numeracy words for the week. They stay there on a chart all week. They are hung up around the room. These are the words we want to use. Dividing, division, sharing, equal parts, counting. Yeah? These are the words, the terminology we want to use in the classroom.
So next one.
Yep. So, learning intention.
We're at the very important stage now. In the class, oh yeah, you got a question?
Sorry, can I ask a question? My table here, folded the paper like 4 pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. After she finished folding like that, she opens the paper, then she cut it in half like that. What do you think in this way? I think it's
Yeah,
more.
that's still a good strategy to have, but I think you should start with
Yeah.
going half and then half,
Half
especially if it's an even number, such as, an 8.
And then you won't fold this paper, to, like make like, your son or your student understand. If you do it like this way,
It's not accurate, so.
no, I mean after you measure it, as you said.
Yeah, yeah.
And you cut it, I want to him understand what half. I cut in half,
Yeah,
okay?
Excellent.
And quarter, I cut in quarter. But if I cut like that after I measure it, and changes the way I cut the paper, I think it's more confusing for the.
I think once they practice though, it doesn't become, it's just understanding the concept of what half is and what a quarter is and what a sixth or eighth. As soon as they understand that it's 1 part out of 8, then it doesn't matter how you divide that piece of paper, it's still the same thing at the end. It's still divided in 8ths, whether it's going through the squares or the strips of paper.
Okay.
It's still an 8th. It's still 1 out of the 8 strips.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question? Yes,
Yeah.
so doing it in different ways?
Yeah, I'm asking you because you are the teacher.
Yeah, no,
How do
it
you think
doesn't,
about the student?
it's just understanding the concept. If your child can understand the concept of having the even parts,
It doesn't matter how.
it doesn't matter how you cut, because it could be round, it could be a pizza that you're cutting.
Yes.
So you're not cutting strips when you're cutting a pizza.
It's the concept, it's the
Yeah,
main
it's
idea.
understanding that
The
concept.
big idea, yeah. So what grade is this? What year level is this? 4 or 5. So higher order thinking, yeah, we absolutely should know 8s. When we get into the activities, because your activities are all based around your children, what your children should be capable of, yeah? Hopefully we can get them right, yeah? Inshallah. Alright, so we've got.
So we've come up with our whole class discussion. We've written up some vocab and some words. This is the time where in a normal classroom we'd come up with our learning intention. What are we wanting to learn today? What are you going to learn out of today's lesson? So as a student, the child would say, today we are learning to, for example, understand a whole or understand what half looks like, depending on whatever year level they're in. What we want from you today as parents, what do you intend to learn today? So as a parent, what is your learning intention today? So strategies that you can use. So develop strategies.
So maybe just, we'll do some keywords and then we'll get it all together and make one statement. So this is what a learning intention is. It's a goal, it's an intention for the period, for the subject, just for that particular 45 minutes or hour and a half, what our goal or target is just for that period. I'm not going to be able to teach you fractions in 45 minutes. That's unrealistic. Yeah, not an option. But today, you might learn something from me or from Miss Rabiha in this 45-minute period. What are you hoping to achieve in this hour? What are you hoping to take out from this hour today? Just from this hour, what are you hoping to achieve? What's our learning intention? A guide to help support my child. Good. Anything else? Because your learning intention might be different to the person sitting next to you. You're probably thinking, you know what, I hope that I can do fractions today, yeah?
Or an insight into how my child is
Learn.
taught.
Yeah. To develop an insight onto how my child is taught in class, maths for that particular period. Good. So together what we do with students, we sit them down, we say, okay, now you have an idea of what we're doing today. What do we hope to achieve today? And they come up together with an intention with the classroom teacher, and the teacher writes it as a statement there, and it stays there for the period. If we get off task, off track, we go, hey, let's go back to our learning intention. We're not talking about what we did outside. Let's focus on what we need to achieve today. Yeah? And that stays there for the period. So, can we put one together to make it an intention today? So parents are looking for strategies today that guide them into and give them an insight onto what is taught in class. Okay, we can make a statement there. That's not so hard. We ready? With your help, I can't do this on my own. We need your help. So, to develop, we'll start with maybe. I've started you off. To develop.
An understanding.
Remember, try and get these in, yeah? Okay, good. All right, to develop an understanding.
On different ways to make maths fun.
She's interested now.
I know, didn't you want no part to develop an understanding. To develop an understanding. Of strategy. Can we use strategies? Of strategies. To develop an understanding of strategies. To guide. And guidance. To develop an understanding of strategies. Yeah, I want to use. I like these words. We want to use these key words. Develop an understanding of strategies.
And an insight.
Yeah, insight is good. And an insight.
Yeah.
And how much of. Nice. Good. That stays up on the classroom board, and that is our focus for the period, or for the 2 period, whatever it is. So children don't lose focus.
The teacher developed these statements
With the kids, yes. We guide them, like I did with you. I said, look, I've started it to develop, and I said, okay, you guys do it. I didn't come up with this, you did. I didn't come up with this stuff, you did. But we all agree on it. Everyone says, yes, this is the purpose, this is what we're here for, and we stick with it. This is our focus for the period or 2 periods, whatever it is.
it can be different from class.
Every class is different. Every period is different. In English, it's going to be different. I have you English next period. It's going to be different. We're going to develop a new learning intention. It doesn't take this long normally. Our learning intention is 5 minutes. We get it done, out of the way. That's our focus. We're letting you know of what a learning intention is, so you speak that language at home and say, what was your learning intention for maths today, Mohammed? And if they remember it, they were switched on and they remember it, yeah? So it changes, yes it does. That answers your
Just
question.
remember that every discussion is different as well from one class to another, based on their experiences and what they know. So it can go in any direction, but obviously there's always that focus in mind from the teacher as to where he or she wants the discussion to go.
Because the learning intention is normally mentioned on the homework sheet
Yes.
for each subject. So is that even different than what they do in the class?
So with the learning,
worksheet, the homework sheet?
Generally speaking, with the homework in particular, there is the one learning intention, which is looking at homework itself, having a routine, responsibilities in place, and then there are specific learning intentions for that particular homework task. Not necessarily what they did in class, but it does reflect on the work that was completed the week before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When your child's book goes home, when you see their books, you'll see all the different learning intentions for every single subject, every single period. Arabic, religion, maths, language, yeah, you'll see it. And you'll see this is what the goal and the focus was. Yeah? Alright, we've got our learning intention. Let's get into it. This is the main purpose of the main chunk of the period where the work is differentiated. We've got our spectrum, we've got our continuum. You know, here in this particular situation, I said from prep to year 5, it's not a typical prep to year 5 in class. There'd be a variance, but not a massive gap. Prep ones, learning, we've given you learning intentions. Prep ones, hands up. Prep ones here. 2, recognize, this is your activity. To recognize and describe 1/2 as one of 2 equal parts of a whole. Because this is what typically a prep child is expected to do. Your activity is set out for you on the table. We wouldn't say, preps, read this and do your work. Yeah, we wouldn't say that, but because you're adults and you can do this, that's fine. Normally a teacher would sit down with them and work with them. If they have support, we have our support staff in the class, they also would sit down and do that with them, okay? So that's your learning intention prep ones. You guys can start, okay? Year 2 and 3, Mr. Abita.
So to model and represent unit fractions, including half, a quarter, and an eighth. So we've got the resources there available for you on your table. Just read through the instructions. They're very, I guess, clear and basic. You do have extra support here. We've got Miss O'Havey, myself, we've got Miss Selma, we've got Miss Sel, and we also have Miss Layla and Mr. Mason there at the back, so plenty of staff to help. We'll work together as a group. You can work in pairs if you like. There's enough equipment there for you to work with a partner if you don't want to work with the whole group.
Year 4s and 5s learning intention today to recognise and order unit fractions using a fraction wall.
Now you have an extra step. You have to make a prediction before you start. So what you're doing, you're creating a fraction wall to help you order fractions. But I've given you a set of fractions there on your instruction sheet. You need to predict that order first from lowest to highest, then create your fraction wall and then check if your prediction was correct. So that's what you were doing.
Okay, we'll walk around, we'll help you where it needs to be. Lots of discussion, lots of talk.
Yeah, maybe this is on what the teachers will want is to have, so you label that as weight. They have a bit where they have all this maybe and then you go station of thirds, quarters, sixths, now that might be a tricky. The teachers actually writing down that's great.
So we can use those slides to represent
That's
It will be these 3 But because we're using the
It's a prediction, it's a guess. And it's okay to be wrong because when you get
Is there 8 parts of it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Okay, what about I'm sure you're not the only one.
What else do you guys have? Let's go. Okay, the next one, for example. We're making it half. Okay, so we need to use so this is how we
Next time, we'll check your prediction.
How are we going to share between the How are you guys going here? Okay.
You're not going to be good. See that.
Okay. How about I get some time? Yeah. Okay. So how many?
If you know the theme or the
So how we express ourselves.
how we express ourselves.
So that was the Who We Are unit, they just finished that one off.
Grade 4s.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the Who We Are unit.
Grade 5s have moved on.
Yeah, to how we express ourselves as well. So most of the school have just finished Who We Are and are moving on to the next theme. So there are 6 themes. And again, all this is available on the internet under looking into the PYP and reading about the 6 transdisciplinary themes and ways you can teach maths within the inquiry or through inquiry.
It just makes maths a lot easier.
More meaningful.
Yeah, it connects.
Yes.
To real life situations. Go shopping.
So if you look at the transdisciplinary themes, the primary years program, transdisciplinary themes, I'll write that one.
It's in the handbook, if you look at the school app.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Selwyn in the school app.
The school app. Miss Panisari, the school app.
The first booklet that was sent on information night, the unit of inquiry is like that.
Okay. So, if you've noticed, I started walking around and began to take down notes, and then I was caught out. I told everyone the teacher would normally do this, and I didn't want to alarm anyone. But a typical class is when you have differentiated work. We might have 4 groups. Today we have 3. A class may have 4 different ability levels. Your child might be in either one. We generally pre-test your child. So for fractions, you have no idea about fractions. We would normally give out a test, a pre-test, just to know their prior knowledge. From those tests, the results, we work out where they are, where they form on the scale. Remember the scale? Remember the proficiency scale? So where they form on the scale. That determines our groups. A teacher would normally walk around after she split up, or he split up the groups, the differentiated groups, the activities. They'd walk around and they'd look at the way you communicate, the way you interact, the way you behave, the way you complete and solve and think, and all the stuff that you do, yeah, all your skills, and they take down anecdotal notes. These notes are recorded for assessment purposes, then they're reported to you eventually by the end of the week, by the end of the term, end of the semester, what have you. The end of the unit, we generally do a post-test. A test that tests what they have been taught for that particular concept. Generally not immediately after the unit, wait a little bit to see if they've comprehended everything. When it's fresh, if I tested everybody now on what you did, you'll probably get full marks. So we generally wait a week or two, and we'll test you again to see if you've understood the concepts taught. And that's noted, assessed, reported to you. Yeah? So that's assessment. Assessment also includes some sort of reflection. Now, we do this every day. The child will do this every day. Not every lesson, Ms. Leila, you can...
So instead of having before you jump into that, can you explain to the parents assessment is collected, PLC means for that?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Data analysis of that?
Alright. So, that assessment, and this is not going off, it's definitely related. That assessment that we collate, there are 4 grades per year level. Those 4 teachers belonging to those 4 grades meet for an hour and a half a week. I come in, Mr. Rabiha comes in, Mr. Mason comes in, Ms. Leila comes in. I teach 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D. We come in with our test results. We go, okay, my grade scored this. Your grade? And so on. And we have a look on a continuum. And we look at it and we work out where the deficiencies are, where the problems are, and where we've done really well. My kids have done really well. Mr. Abida, your kids haven't done as well. What did you do, Mr. Alhabi, that was different than what I did? Would be her question. I did this, I taught it this way, I brought in someone to teach this, I watched a video clip, I did this. Okay, I'll do that with my kids, I'll retest, let's see if we can get full marks with those kids. This is what happens on a weekly basis. Any testing, any assessment, those 2 periods are solely for data analysis. It's happening right now as we speak. The grade 3s are sitting down, sorting out their data.
Sorry, just a quick question on that. What happens if Mr. Rabiha's used the same strategies you have used, but her kids are still not at the level your children are at? Then what?
Look,
because I'm sure that would happen.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're never going to get 100% full marks all the time.
I understand that too.
But we look at all the avenues because obviously 4 minds are better than just the one. I have a different teaching style to Mr. Rabiha, to Ms. Leila, to Mr. Mason. We all have different teaching styles. We work out strategies and implement ways of how we can, different perceptions, we work out different ways of how we could possibly teach it, and we do the best we can. That's what that would be my answer to you. It'd be 4 different techniques as opposed to just one. That is what is new. I'm not going in and going, I'm the best teacher, and I'm hoping to get 100%, but I don't get 100% and walk out thinking nothing's happened. So I usually draw from my teachers, my colleagues, their experiences, what their strategies are, what their possible, techniques might be. We're all different, and I'm sure children obviously learn differently. Some kids will get it after that, some won't, and that's all part of learning and teaching.
The ones that don't, will they be then given extra assistance too?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what happens? We have intervention, we have support, we have staff that come in on a weekly basis. We have staff that withdraw students. So those kids are targeted. Those kids are highlighted. Yeah? Needs intervention, needs support. Gets it with a little bit of help. Remember our scale? Gets it with a reminder. Doesn't get it at all, even with assistance. Let's report, let's call mum, let's call dad. This is the situation with chance and data today. Pre-test, no good. Post-test, no good. Support, help, strategies. I'll give you some advice. These are some things that you can do. These are some tools. These are some apps. These are some activities you can do to further develop. The curriculum has to move. We still have to move on. You're aware, it's reported, it's highlighted. They're targeted. Yeah? So this is what's happening in place as I speak. I've lost a bit of time with that, but that is very important so you know that's what happens on a weekly basis. Data analysis. we collate your child's results and assessment, we analyse it, and we look through where are deficiencies, where are problems. Most of the time it's celebrations. Most of the time it's successes. You know, wow, look what happened here. Ruby, what did you do here? What happened? They're all peeking. You know, okay, let's share, let's talk, let's discuss. I'll try it. You know what? I tried what you said last week. Loved it. Kids got it. Yeah? And it's good for you guys to know that's what happens in our meetings. We don't just look forward to holidays, we do stuff. So another form of assessment is reflections. Generally it's written, but not always. So children cannot always only express in writing. They find it difficult to express in writing. Some would rather sit and talk to you. So in this case with preps and ones, you're talking to Miss Rebecca and you're reflecting on what you've learned today, what you enjoyed today. Something new I learned. I'm still confused with, and there were still some people I heard whispers, look, I didn't get that, I did get that. I'm more confident in some PYP skills I used were today. What skills did you use today? Think of some things that you used, self-management, communication skills. What kind of skills did you use today? Something interesting I found was, I still need help with. So for our independent children, independent parents, in grades 2, 3, 4 and 5, we want you to reflect on your activity today, what you learned today, what you enjoyed, what you found difficult, some skills that you could share with us on paper. And this is typical of what happened in the prep. The prep teacher would come in, sit them in a circle, and
So we have like a circle time session. So circle time is really important for oral language and giving the kids an opportunity to express themselves, especially with the younger kids, they're not able to write yet. In some situations they might draw how they feel, or draw a smiley person, but we try to include circle time at least once a day. We try to do it more often if we can, especially with the younger ones. So this is where you can we sit in a circle. Every person has a chance to speak, and you can only speak when you have the talking item. So what I'll do is I'll start with a particular object, and I can hold the talking item. We're going to make it, we'll just use this texter for now. And then I can say something is, today I learned more about half, and I can understand what half looks like. This is how I can start it, and then I can pass it on to the next person, and so on and so forth. You can only speak when you have the talking item. You cannot interrupt the other person. You need to be listening to what they say. And so this encourages oral language, giving the kids, the ones that are really shy, who don't really take part, this is their chance to speak and to take part in the class discussion. So I'll get the other groups to write down their reflections, and we'll do a quick circle time activity with this class.
about 5 minutes. You do that.
Yes, everyone's
There should be a section where it talks about whatever the maths that we
Letter or sounds if you're part of
So it's not what you learned as in like fractions or whatever. I hope that you learn anything new with fractions, but I'm just what you learned today out of today's discussion. No, individually is good. We like to take this and this session. That's all it is. And these are powerful. These are raw messages. This is what we use day to day. We read this because some children may not have the capabilities to express their feelings verbally or orally, like the preps can't write yet, so they may draw a picture, as Mr. Rabiha said. But you know, most of the independent kids can, and they're too shy to tell you that they didn't get it. If you didn't get it today, right, you didn't get it today, yeah? If you still are struggling or have some unanswered questions with some things that we discussed today, write it, be honest. This is what we encourage children. There is no judgment. I'm not going to come out and go, right, Mohammed, come out and read your reflection. Read for us how embarrassed you were. Read for us, you know, what you didn't get. So there's no judgment. We normally keep that to ourselves. We assess. That's how we use that to guide our teaching. You know, Mohammed didn't get it. I didn't know the whole time. I thought he had it. Here, he says he didn't get it. I have to work with him next session, tomorrow. Highlight, Mohammed didn't get it. I've got to sit with him. Yeah?
I want you to just take a moment to revisit our learning intention and just let us know, how do you feel about that now? Do you feel confident walking out saying, yes, I have developed that understanding. I do know some strategies now to help my child with, you know, in this case, fractions, for example. Or do you have a better understanding of how maths is taught in the class? Just like to hear what your thoughts are, or maybe you can just add them to your reflection as well. You can just add that to them.
Just include the last week we heard about the children that sit in the class in the preps anyway.
Yeah.
And we saw what was done. I wouldn't want the opportunity.
Open day, I think that's coming up. Yeah, open day is coming up, so you'll get a letter to let you know when that's happening.
That's very important.
You see it real, for real as it is. This is as real as it can get. This is a simulated one, but you will have opportunities to go into your child's class and see this during open day. We ask that you do. You know, it's a shame that we don't get as many parents as we would like for them to come in. And you know, it's great that you're offering to, you know, wanting to see that happen more often. One parent asked me about differentiated work. Remember, just keep in mind, maths levels can fluctuate and change week to week. Your child can be very proficient in multiplication, but struggle the following week in division. Our pre-tests determine their levels. Okay? So keep that in mind. In numeracy, your child's level will fluctuate from concept to concept. Okay? They could be in the top group for the majority of the year and then get to fractions, which is a tricky one. This is why we did this today. Time, which is a tricky one. Money, which is a tricky one. And they can just drop a level, yeah? So, and it's like us. You have strengths, you know what you're really good at. I'm really good at multiplication, linear multiplication, and smash it out like that, yeah? But then I know that I struggle with other things, or I'm not as strong as in other things. So your child is you have to understand that they are different levels of different concepts throughout the year. Alright? Look, thank you.